Your entire life is shaped by the quality of your thoughts. Before you change your habits, before you change your actions, before you change your results, you must change the way you think. Discipline doesn't start in your schedule. It doesn't start in your routine. It starts in your mind, because an undisciplined mind will destroy every disciplined plan you create. And a disciplined mind will elevate even an imperfect plan. The first step in disciplining your thinking is recognizing the power your thoughts actually have. Most people underestimate the value of a single thought, yet every great achievement was born from one. Your thoughts are the architects of your destiny. They design the structure of your future. If you feed your mind weakness, you build a weak future. If you feed your mind strength, you build a strong one. Your mind is not a storage space, it's a workshop. And you have to decide what you allow to be built inside it. That's where mental boundaries come in. You can't have a disciplined mind while letting everything and everyone have access to it. You need rules for your thinking, rules for what you allow, rules for what you refuse. Some people drain your focus. Some environments weaken your direction. Some information poisons your confidence. Discipline means protecting your mental space with the same seriousness with which you'd protect your home. You don't leave your front door open for strangers, so stop leaving your mind open for distractions. And when negative thoughts show up, and they will, you must interrupt them immediately. Don't entertain them. Don't negotiate with them. Don't argue with them. Replace them. The moment you hear your mind say, I can't, respond with, what would it take? The moment your mind says, this is too hard, answer with, this is preparing me. Negative thoughts are like weeds. They don't need permission to grow. They grow automatically. But disciplined thoughts are like seeds. You plant them on purpose. You water them consistently. You protect them intentionally. A disciplined thinker also understands the power of focusing on what can be controlled. Most people waste their mental energy thinking about what they can change, what they don't like, and what they fear might happen. That is mental weakness disguised as mental activity. Discipline is directing your thoughts towards solutions, strategies, and decisions that move your life forward. Your mind becomes stronger the moment you stop feeding it excuses and start feeding it responsibility. And none of this works without repetition. You don't develop disciplined thinking overnight. You develop it through daily mental practice. Affirmations spoken with conviction, visualizing your goals with clarity, reminding yourself of who you are becoming, not just who you used to be. Repetition turns thought into belief. Belief turns belief into action, and action turns action into transformation. The more you repeat empowering thoughts, the more automatic they become. And when empowering thoughts become automatic, discipline becomes effortless. But the ultimate level of disciplined thinking is alignment. Thinking in the direction of your desired future. Most people think from memory, replaying their past, reliving their mistakes, repeating their limitations. But disciplined thinkers think from vision. They think from purpose. They think from the future they are building. Every thought becomes a brick laid in the direction of their destiny. When your thinking aligns with where you're going, you stop getting pulled back by where you've been. Your mind is your most powerful asset. If you discipline it, your life will reflect that discipline. If you don't, your life will reflect that chaos. The question is simple. Who is controlling your thinking? You or your circumstances? You or your emotions? You or your past? You have the authority to choose your thoughts. And when you choose your thoughts, you choose your future. Discipline your thinking, and you will discover strength you didn't know you had, clarity you didn't know you needed, and potential you didn't know was inside you. Your life elevates when your thinking elevates, and everything you want becomes possible. The moment your mind becomes disciplined enough to believe it, pursue it, and keep moving toward it no matter what. This is how you transform your life. You master your mind, and your mind will master your results. Recognizing the power of your thoughts means understanding that nothing in your life changes until your thinking changes first. Every action you take, every decision you make, every habit you form starts as a single thought. Your thoughts are not harmless. They are not passive. They are creative forces that shape the direction of your life. When a thought enters your mind, it doesn't just sit there. It begins building, influencing, and guiding what you do next. Most people treat their thoughts like background noise, never realizing they're actually listening to instructions. If your thoughts tell you you're not good enough, you start living like someone who is not good enough. If your thoughts tell you you're capable, valuable, powerful, you begin rising to match that belief. Your thoughts are like internal commands, programming your behavior and defining your identity long before your actions show it. When you truly understand this, you start taking your thinking seriously. You stop letting random worries dictate your mood. You stop letting fear-based thoughts decide your steps. You stop letting old beliefs restrict your new potential. Because now you know a thought is a seed, and whatever you plant will grow into the results you experience. If you fill your mind with possibility, your life will move toward possibility. If you fill your mind with limitations, your life will stay limited. If you allow weak thoughts, you will produce weak results. But when you train your mind to think strength, clarity, purpose, and direction, your life rises to that level. Recognizing the power of your thoughts is recognizing that your mind is the starting point of every breakthrough and every setback. It is the steering wheel of your destiny. And when you take control of your thinking, you take control of your future. Creating mental boundaries means deciding what has permission to enter your mind and what doesn't. Just like you wouldn't let anyone walk into your home uninvited, you can't allow every thought, every voice, every opinion, and every distraction to walk into your mental space. Your mind is not a public place. It is private, powerful territory, and if you don't protect it, life will fill it with noise, fear, negativity, and confusion. Mental boundaries start with awareness. You begin noticing who drains your energy, what triggers your self-doubt, which environments weaken your focus, and what kind of information influences your mood. Most people don't lack discipline. They lack protection. Their minds are too accessible, too open, too unguarded. Anyone can interrupt their focus. Any negative comment can shift their day. Any distraction can pull them off their path. But when you create boundaries, you raise the standard for what you allow inside. You decide that not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your consideration. Not every notification deserves your response. You become intentional about your inputs because you realize your inputs become your instincts. This also means setting internal rules. What you will not think about, what you will not entertain, what you will not revisit. You don't replay old failures. You don't rehearse worst case scenarios. You don't feed thoughts that weaken you. And when those thoughts try to slip in, and they will, you shut the door quickly. Mental boundaries are also about choosing your environment wisely. You spend time in places that strengthen your purpose, around people who elevate your thinking, and consuming content that pushes you forward. You distance yourself from anything that makes your mind lazy, scattered, or reactive. When you protect your mind, you protect your peace. When you control your mental access, you control your mental direction. Mental boundaries don't limit your freedom. They expand your potential. They give you clarity, focus, and emotional stability. They help you stay aligned with your goals instead of being pulled by distractions. A disciplined life always begins with a disciplined mind, and a disciplined mind always begins with strong mental boundaries. Focusing on what you can control is one of the most powerful disciplines you can build in your thinking. Most people waste enormous mental energy on circumstances they cannot change, opinions they cannot influence, and outcomes they cannot predict. That kind of thinking drains strength, multiplies stress, and keeps the mind in a constant loop of frustration. But the moment you shift your attention to what is within your control, your effort, your attitude, your decisions, your responses, your entire mental state begins to transform. When you focus on what you can control, you instantly reclaim your power. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by problems, you start looking for solutions. Instead of reacting emotionally to situations, you start responding intentionally. Instead of worrying about what might happen, you start preparing for what you want to happen. This shift doesn't just change your thoughts. It changes your behavior, your progress, and your confidence. A disciplined thinker understands that control is a limited resource. You can't control people. You can't control the past. You can't control the economy, the weather, or external circumstances. But you can always control how you think about them. You can always choose your perspective. You can always choose your next step. And that choice is where growth happens. Focusing on what you can control also forces you to take responsibility instead of making excuses. When your mind stops blaming and starts building, you develop momentum. You stop complaining about the conditions and start creating new results. You stop waiting for better opportunities and start working with what you have. Responsibility sharpens your thinking and strengthens your discipline because it keeps you looking forward instead of backward. This mental discipline also protects your peace. When you direct your thoughts toward actions you can take rather than problems you can't fix, anxiety loses its grip. Stress becomes manageable. Life becomes clearer. You feel lighter because you're no longer carrying the weight of everything that isn't yours to control. Every breakthrough in your life will come from what you do with what you have. Not what you wish you had, not what you hope will change, but what you can act on right now. When your thinking stops drifting into the uncontrollable and stays anchored in the actionable, you become mentally unstoppable. This is the power of disciplined thinking. You master your focus, and your focus masters your future. Practicing thought repetition daily is how you train your mind to think on purpose instead of thinking by habit. Most people don't realize that their thoughts are not chosen. They're repeated. They think the same way every day because they've rehearsed the same thoughts for years. If you want to discipline your mind, you must interrupt the old patterns and install new ones. And the only way to do that is through consistent, intentional repetition. Your mind becomes what you tell it over and over again. If you repeat fear, you strengthen fear. If you repeat doubt, you strengthen doubt. But if you repeat purpose, you strengthen purpose. If you repeat confidence, you strengthen confidence. Repetition turns ideas into beliefs and beliefs into behaviors. It's not about saying something once. It's about saying it until your mind accepts it, until it becomes natural, automatic, and instinctive. This is why daily mental practice matters. Affirmations spoken with emotion, not just words. Visualizing your goals with clarity, not just imagination. Reminding yourself of your identity, your mission, your standards. These practices aren't motivational tricks. They are mental conditioning. When you repeat powerful thoughts daily, you're rewiring your mind to support your future instead of repeating your past. Thought repetition also builds discipline because it strengthens mental clarity. The more you repeat the right thoughts, the easier it becomes to reject the wrong ones. Just like training a muscle, your mind becomes stronger through consistent use. You start catching yourself quicker. You redirect your thinking faster. You stay aligned longer. You no longer have to fight your thoughts. Your thoughts begin to fight for you. And the beauty is this: repetition doesn't take hours. It takes commitment. 2 minutes of focus can reshape a day. 10 minutes of intentional thought can reshape a mindset. But it must be daily. Discipline isn't created in a moment. It's created through rhythm, through consistency, through returning to the same truth until it becomes your default. Daily thought repetition is how you build mental strength on purpose. It's how you create a mind that believes in your vision, supports your growth, and refuses to settle for anything below your potential. When your repeated thoughts line up with your goals, your entire life begins to move in that direction, naturally, steadily, powerfully. Aligning your thoughts with your desired future means refusing to think from the limitations of where you've been and choosing instead to think from the possibilities of where you're going. Most people replay their past so much that they never make room for a new future. They think from memory, not imagination. They think from old experiences, not new expectations. But disciplined thinkers make a different choice. They think from vision. They allow their desired future to become the blueprint for their current mindset. When your thoughts align with your future, you begin to speak differently, act differently, and make decisions that match the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. You stop asking, what do things look like right now? And start asking, what would someone at the next level think right now? This shift is powerful because your mind starts moving your life in the direction of the images you hold in your head. Your thoughts become like a magnet, pulling opportunities, ideas, and actions toward your vision. Alignment requires intention. You have to consistently remind yourself of the life you want to create, the habits, the character, the discipline, the results. You picture it so clearly that your mind begins to accept it as your new reality. And once your mind accepts it, your behavior starts aligning automatically. This is how internal change creates external transformation. You also start filtering your thoughts based on your future. Anything that doesn't match your vision loses permission to stay in your mind. Fear that keeps you small, you replace it with courage that moves you forward. Doubt that slows you down, you replace it with belief that fuels action. Worry that distracts you, you replace it with focus that keeps you on track. You elevate your thinking to the level of the life you want to live. Aligning your thoughts with your future also means refusing to get stuck in temporary circumstances. You don't judge your future by your current situation. You judge your current situation by your future potential. You think like someone who is rising, building, and evolving. You create mental momentum by staying consistent with the identity you are stepping into. Your thoughts begin to push you instead of pulling you back. When your thinking aligns with your vision, life starts moving in your favor. Your discipline increases. Your decisions become wiser. Your confidence rises. Your purpose sharpens. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. And everything you do begins to reflect where you are going, not where you started. This is how futures are built, one aligned thought at a time. A disciplined mind is the foundation of a disciplined life. Everything you want to build, everything you want to become, everything you want to experience begins with the way you think. When you recognize the power of your thoughts, protect your mental space, interrupt negativity, focus on what you can control, repeat the right thoughts daily, and align your mind with your vision, you become unstoppable. Your thinking becomes your strategy. Your thoughts become your fuel. Your mindset becomes your greatest advantage. And the moment you take authority over your inner world, your outer world begins to shift in ways you never imagined. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it begins today with the thoughts you choose. Discipline your thinking, and your thinking will discipline your actions. Discipline your actions, and your actions will reshape your results. You are not limited by your past. You are guided by your purpose. And when your mind is aligned with your future, nothing can stop the life you are destined to create. Your greatest power is already in your hands. Now it's time to use it with intention, with conviction, and with discipline.